Hello everyone and welcome to Outside Interference and to episode number 26 of our local global series. In this episode we're obviously going to have two fight nights as always, and the second fight night will be the go home show for UPW License to Kill, which is our next big event. I've referred to it as a pay-per-view before, but that's just out of a habit. We don't actually have any pay-per-view providers, but we are growing quite quickly. As you can see here, our popularity is kind of shooting up. For some reason, we're more over in New England than we are in the Tri-State, which is our home region. But regardless, we are growing at quite a steady rate, and sooner rather than later, we'll probably be able to get some international coverage and a pay-per-view provider, which will obviously help us tremendously, especially in terms of money. Although with the ESPN deal, we obviously don't need too much help in the money department because we are doing quite well on our own. But regardless, we are moving up quite quickly in the wrestling world. We are currently ranked 16th out of like 40 something, maybe 30 something, and our prestige is at a 24, although our momentum is at a 1, which is kind of weird because we've been running weekly shows, so I feel like it should be higher than that. But I'll take what I can get. I suppose it's not hurting us too much, so I suppose it doesn't really matter all that much. But with that, we'll go ahead and jump right into the first fight night, which is a pretty stacked card, as we'll see in just a minute. To open the show, Aaron Bauer and Joel Gertner are at the announce desk. Bauer says, "Hello ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on ESPN for UPW Fight Night. Luckily for you, tonight we have a very stacked card for your viewing pleasure." Gertner follows up with, "Yes indeed, Bauer, not only will we see the bombshells in action, we're going to see the rise, Ryan O'Reilly in his first UPW singles match," and as I'm reading this, I'm realizing that that is not correct, because he fought Joey Janela in his debut. But we'll go ahead and strike that from the history books for now, because I was really tired when I wrote this, and I'm too lazy to go back and rewrite it. But moving on with the promo, Gertner continues with, "And if that doesn't get you excited, I don't know what will." Bauer then follows up with, "Not only that, our first match will be for the tag team title #1 contendership shot next week. Basically, it's Colby Corino versus JT Dunn. If Corino wins, then he and Flex Freeman will get a shot at the #1 contendership at the next fight night." And then, of course, Gertner says, "Alright, enough small talk. Let's get into it." This got a 26 rating. I was expecting a little bit more, honestly, but their microphone is kind of crap at this point, and this is why I kind of do these segments, other than to add variety to my promos. I just want this to be a way for Bauer and Gertner to improve on their microphone skills, so hopefully we can do some interview segments in the future and some other stuff like that. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next segment. A decent match. Colby Corino did in fact defeat JT Dunn in 10-27 by submission. JT Dunn got a 39. Colby got a 35, which is really good from him. 37 rating, no worker improvements. But Next Wave will get a shot at the #1 contendership if they can beat Chaos next week on Fight Night. And then of course they will get a title match at License to Kill, and we'll see how that goes. But let's go ahead and move on to the next segment. A 53 rating. A decent match. I think that's much better than decent, but whatever you say, Adam Ryland. Kimberly defeated Penelope Ford in 6:07 by submission with an armbar after a botched interference by Barbie Hayden. So Penelope got a 55. Penelope's performance in eye candy matches are simply amazing. Kimberly got a 48, which is definitely not half bad. Any worker improvements? Unfortunately not, but a 53. Probably should have made this the main event, but we do have a Kairi Hojo match in the main event, so I'm expecting that to do pretty well as well. Moving on to the next match, a 39 rating. Dalton Castle defeated The Rise, Ryan O'Reilly in 11-23 by submission after a distraction from David Starr. O'Reilly got a 44, Castle got a 45, no worker improvements. I was expecting a little bit more on the rating. It's probably just because of the David Starr distraction, I'm assuming. And apparently Dalton Castle was penalized for low morale, so that might have done something as well. So we need to maybe send some money his way to try and get him back on our side and back to the matches we expect from him. After costing O'Reilly the match, David Starr gets into the new signee's face. Security rushed to the ring to pull the two apart before things can escalate once again. 57 rating. Pretty great segment. Obviously, this was pretty much just because of Ryan O'Reilly's menace, but I'm okay with that. Doesn't matter where it comes from as long as we're getting really good ratings. And this is shaping up to be one of our better fight nights of the year, maybe even ever. So that is definitely a good thing. And the main event gets a 46, which is kind of disappointing, but Vanessa Craven has never been known to perform well in eye candy matches, which is what this was. But I thought Kyrie might do a little better, only getting a 56 to Vanessa's 46. But a decent match, to say the least. Craven defeated Hojo in 8:57 by pinfall with a sit-out powerbomb following interference from Virginia Blackwood. So Virginia Blackwood is continuing their feud up until License to Kill, and actually Vanessa Craven improved in flying. So we'll go ahead and move on to the last segment of the night, a 53 rating. Virginia Blackwood grabs the mic from ringside and gets into the face of Kairi Hojo. Blackwood says, "Consider this a lesson, Hojo. Craven took your title, and I'm going to take your career. I am the Achilles heel, and at License to Kill, I'm going to do just that. Steve Corino has booked us in a no DQ match, and I plan on taking every opportunity I get to hurt you." So Virginia Blackwood making her intentions known once again. No worker improvements, but that will be a good note to end off the show, and a 48 rating. Again, one of the better fight nights of the year, definitely, and probably in the top 10 of fight nights overall, so I cannot complain about this one bit. The women's division has really been performing well for us, so much so that I've decided to invest in them a little bit more. And I've added a couple more roster members to that division, and they are going to be a part of the next pay-per-view cycle at least, probably even further than that. And since we do already have the Super 8 tournament for the men, I've been thinking I might want to try a women's invitational tournament at some point, just to get a new number one contender after this feud with Craven and the Bombshells. I honestly don't know where that one is going to end up, as that feud should be wrapping up fairly soon. We'll see how that develops. But enough rambling from me, let's go ahead and jump into the next fight night. The show opens up with LAX standing in the ring preparing to address the crowd. Colon says, "We're here to deliver a message straight from Homicide. At License to Kill, we officially take over. In 4 days, Steve Corino's tyrannical reign will come to an end. He is going to be left in a pool of his own blood, and we will finally have reestablished our complete and total dominance over UPW." Dalton Castle's music hits as the former heavyweight champion emerges from the back. He says, "Colon, you must have forgotten what happened the last time you did something like this, right? I mean, it must be hard to forget when your friends turn on you and you lose your title to a guy who was only a couple days away from retirement. That can't be an easy pill to swallow." Colon then says, "I suggest you shut your mouth, Castle. We've got the numbers on you." And, quite smug, Dalton Castle says, "Oh really?" As the boys return to jump LAX from behind, Castle joins in and the three beat LAX down until the trio manage to escape and retreat to the back. So the boys haven't been seen in UPW in a couple months now. I would say it was probably like December or November, maybe even earlier, the last time we saw them, as they were pretty much demolished by Hansen during Dalton Castle's feud with him. But they have indeed returned to come to the aid of Dalton Castle, and it seems like this old feud is kind of being rekindled a little bit, although under slightly different circumstances, as Homicide now joins the ranks, and they kind of are all fighting for a title shot. Not really the boys in Castle, obviously. They don't have that opportunity just as of yet. But I can definitely see that for them in the future if they can get back to the point they were at about a year ago, back in 2018, when Dalton Castle probably had the best year in UPW he's had so far. But with that, we'll go ahead and move on to the next segment. A decent match. Cody Hall defeated Jason Kincaid in 750 by pinfall, illegally using the ropes for leverage. Kincaid got a 47, Hall got a 38 for a 44 rating. Kincaid kinda carried this match a little bit, but Hall is doing much better than he was only a couple months ago. So I am excited to see how he does in the future, of course. And Jason Kincaid, he's kind of putting on like heavyweight title level performances, so I think it's very likely that in the near future we'll see him in that scene. It is quite crowded at this point, so maybe I even have to add another mid-card or upper mid-card title, maybe like a US Championship. Who knows? But anyway, let's go ahead and move on to the next segment. A decent match. Next Wave defeated Chaos in 12:29 when Flex Freeman defeated Joey Janela by submission. During the match, we also saw Jason Lee run in and attack Janela, and Cody Hall also attacked Carino. So basically what happened in this match, Cody Hall pretty much destroyed Colby Carino, taking him out with a massive power bomb on the side of the ring, pretty much eliminating him from the match. So it was 2v1 versus Flex Freeman, and Jason Lee returns to even the odds. Let's say he hits Joey Janela with his finisher, and Flex Freeman has enough time to lock in the submission. And that's how they won it. Now Next Wave will get a shot at License to Kill at the UPW Tag Team Championships. Colby got a 35, Freeman got a 30, which is kind of disappointing. JT Dutton got a 39, and Janela got a 41 for a 38 rating, so not a great rating, but definitely not bad at all. And after helping Carino and Freeman win their match, Jason Lee grabs the mic from ringside and turns to the back. Lee says, "The only way to win a war is to level the playing field." And Next Wave have done just that. Chaos, your time at the top is over, and a new era has begun. Lee, Freeman, and Carino flash the Next Wave hand sign signaling that Lee has indeed joined the group. So for a while I thought about just having Next Wave going up against Chaos and kind of having the babyface numbers game struggle, but I decided to add Jason Lee to the group because after his feud with Cody went pretty well, I believe, I just really didn't have anything for him, so this was just the next natural development in the story, and I think it definitely opens up a lot more options for me in the near future. But a 48 rating is very good for us, certainly, and it'll definitely help the final rating for the show. But before we get there, we gotta move on to the next segment, a decent match. The Bombshells defeated Leva Bates and Vanessa Craven in 7:41 when Penelope Ford defeated Leva Bates by pinfall with a rating spike. Barbie Hayden had an in-ring performance of 42, Penelope Ford 56, Craven only a 42, and Leva got a 57. So Ford and Leva really carrying this match. Craven is improving her performance skill though, so that is definitely an up. And this is a bit of a rehash of a match, but it is really just to build story towards License to Kill. There isn't too much riding on this match, although it is notable that Penelope Ford, rather than Barbie Hayden, did get the pinfall here, even though Barbie Hayden is the one getting the title shot at License to Kill. But we'll go ahead and move on to the next segment. A 47 rating is definitely not bad. The UPW Heavyweight Champion Hansen comes out flanked by an unfamiliar face. The new face says, "For the uneducated and ill-informed, my name is Alex Del Barrio, and I have been hired to represent the undisputed heavyweight champion and top dog of Uproar Pro Wrestling, Hansen. For reasons unclear to me and quite frankly everyone else, my client hasn't been on UPW TV in over a month, and that is something we just won't stand for. So we've decided to take this matter into our own hands. If anyone in the back, in the crowd, or watching on ESPN thinks they deserve a shot at the beast that is Hansen, they can come out now and challenge him." David Starr's music hits as the Iron Man accepts the open challenge. This got a 44, and yes, Alex Del Barrio is revealed as Hansen's new manager and, quite frankly, mouthpiece. Hansen always does well in promos, but I don't think it suits his character to really just be talking all the time. So introducing a Paul Heyman-esque manager was really just a good move for me and for Hansen as a whole. But this mainly just spurred from the fact that I realized that Hansen hadn't been on TV like at all this year. He's been on TV once and had obviously the three-way at the last event, which obviously isn't great for your top dog and heavyweight champion. So I think Alex Del Barrio might be able to get him on TV a bit more, and it obviously adds to the storyline of why he needed a manager. So it all worked out. 44 rating, definitely pretty good, no worker improvements. Apparently ADB did not come out looking good, but I'm pretty sure it'll be okay regardless. But let's go ahead and move on to the next segment. In a bout that had good heat and decent wrestling, Hansen defeated David Starr in 10-11 by pinfall. Hansen makes defense number 4 of his UPW heavyweight title. David Starr and Hansen have great chemistry, and it showed in their performances. Starr had a 42, Hansen had a 52, showing why he is in fact the UPW heavyweight champion, and he improved in technical. Great match by these two. I'm glad I put it as the main event. And after the match, Ryan O'Reilly runs out from the back, but he's immediately stopped by a wall of security. Steve Corino rushes out to keep the situation from escalating and says, "I've had just about enough of you two. If you're going to fight, you're going to do it in that ring under my rules. And at License to Kill, you're going to start a best of 5 series. The winner will get a title shot of their choice, but outside of those matches, you two are going to stay away from each other or be suspended." So a 49 rating, very good. Apparently Steve Corino was very underwhelming, but Ryan O'Reilly kind of carried this with his menace, so that's great. And Steve Corino is kind of laying down the law here. He's okay with a bit of rivalry, a bit of, let's say, animosity, but he will not have them interrupting and potentially ruining his shows for their feud. So he is going to have a best of 5 series. They're going to get all of their anger out, or so he hopes. And if they can't keep it in the ring, one of them or both of them will be suspended. So this gets a 49 rating, and we'll go ahead and end the show a 48 rating. So I think that's 2 48s in one episode. Honestly, I recorded the first part of this episode like an hour ago and procrastinated a lot, so I honestly don't remember if that's what it was, but I know we have had a 48 recently, and that is a pretty good trend to keep. Hopefully we can do even better at License to Kill, which will be the first show of the next episode. I might even do just one episode, because normally we do have the go home show and the event in the same episode. To get us back on that track, I might just do the event and release it later this week, but we'll see how that works out. I am working quite a lot this week, so I don't really know. But before I end this episode, I do want to thank everybody for all this support we've been getting on the channel. Obviously, a lot of it is from the giveaway, but I'm hoping that when we do reach 250, and we are pretty damn close, I think we're like 12 subscribers away at this point, but when we do reach that 250 number, I'm hoping a lot of these new subscribers will stick with me and they aren't just here for the giveaway, although I do understand if they are. Hopefully they'll still stay subscribed and maybe give my videos a watch. But if you did like the video, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment, and I'll see ya in the next one.
Heat in my vein like vernacular. Cook up the beat with a spatula. Y'all are not ready for action. I'm smoking these rappers and feeling spectacular. Making a killing like massacre. Watch out, I'm whipping my wrist. Right on my city, been pissed, but I